Your Chevy came from the factory with a list of features that GM put on the window sticker like they were selling points, and several of them are quietly destroying your truck from the inside. Not because they broke, because they are working exactly as designed. GM built them to pass fuel economy tests and to sell you convenience, not to make your engine last. Today I am going through 12 of them, worst to first, and for every single one I will tell you what it is doing to your truck and exactly how to shut it off. The last 3 are the ones costing people thousands. Let's go. Number 12. The instant fuel economy gauge that trains bad habits. We start small because this one is more annoying than dangerous, but it sets up everything else. The instant fuel economy readout on your dash feels helpful, but watch what it actually does to how you drive. People start feathering the throttle, lugging the engine in too high a gear, and coasting in ways that chase a number instead of driving the truck the way it wants to be driven. Lugging a big V8 at low RPM under load is hard on bearings and rods. The gauge is not damaging anything by itself, but it quietly teaches a driving style that is worse for the engine than just driving normally. Use the average readout, not the instant one, and drive the truck like a truck. This is the warm-up. It gets more expensive from here. Number 11. Automatic grade braking that runs your RPM up for no reason. Your Chevy has automatic grade braking. Going downhill, the transmission downshifts on its own to hold your speed. On a steep grade while towing, that is genuinely useful, and it saves your brakes. The stupidity is that on many trucks it activates way more often than it needs to. On gentle hills, in hilly cities, during totally normal driving. Every time it does, it spins your engine RPM up to use engine compression as a brake. Higher RPM means more heat and more wear cycles, over and over, in situations where your regular brakes would have been perfectly fine. If you are not towing and not descending real mountain grades, this is just extra engine wear you never asked for. On trucks with TOW haul, grade braking is tied to it, so leave tow haul off for normal empty driving, and the aggressive grade braking backs off with it. Number 10. The lifetime transmission fluid lie. This is not a feature you can turn off. It is a label, and it is one of the most expensive lies GM tells you. Your 6L80, 8L90, or 10L80 transmission is filled with fluid GM calls lifetime. Here is what lifetime actually means in a manufacturer's manual. The life of the warranty. Not the life of the transmission, not your lifetime. The fluid is engineered to survive long enough to get the truck out of warranty, and then it becomes your problem. Transmission fluid works under brutal hydraulic pressure, carries heat away from the torque converter, and holds a friction package that decides how the clutches grab. It breaks down, it fills with clutch material, and when it stops protecting, you are looking at a $3,000 to $5,000 rebuild. The fix is simple. Ignore the word lifetime. Drain and fill every 30 to 50,000 miles with the exact Dexron spec for your transmission. $150 of service against a $5,000 failure. And let me kill the objection you are about to make, because I hear it every time. Somebody always says a shop told them not to touch the fluid on a high-mileage transmission that never had it changed, because fresh fluid can shock a worn transmission into failure. That is real, and it applies only to a neglected transmission at very high mileage that is already on borrowed time. The answer is not to leave lifetime fluid in forever. It is to service it on time from early in the truck's life so you never reach that gamble. If you are the original owner or you know the history, start the 30 to 50,000 mile schedule now and you never have to have that scary conversation. If you bought it used with unknown history at high mileage, do a gentle drain and fill, not an aggressive power flush, and stage it over a few changes. Either way, the word lifetime should never be the reason you did nothing. Number 9. Automatic four-wheel drive left on dry pavement. A lot of Chevy trucks have an auto setting on the four-wheel drive selector, and owners leave it there thinking it is the smart, set it and forget it choice. On dry pavement, it is the opposite. In auto mode, the transfer case keeps the front driveline partially engaged, ready to send power forward the instant it senses slip. But on dry road, all 4 tires have full grip, and the front and rear axles want to turn at slightly different speeds through every corner. In auto four-wheel drive, the drivetrain fights that difference. It binds. You will not feel it dramatically, but the strain wears transfer case components and U-joints faster, and drops your fuel economy because the drivetrain is working harder than it needs to. On dry pavement, put it in two-wheel drive. Save auto for rain, snow, or loose surfaces. That is exactly what it is for, and nothing else. And here is how to tell if it is already costing you. If your truck feels like it binds or hops slightly during tight low-speed turns, pulling into a parking spot, backing into a driveway, that crow-hopping sensation is the drivetrain fighting itself in auto four-wheel drive on high-grip pavement. Owners describe it as the truck feeling like it is skipping or shuddering through a slow turn. That is not a bad axle, and it is not something to spend money diagnosing. It is the auto setting doing exactly what it does on dry ground. Switch to two-wheel drive, and it vanishes instantly. People have paid shops to chase that symptom when the fix was one button. Number 8. The oil life monitor that is secretly a calendar. Your Chevy tells you when to change your oil, and most owners trust it completely. That trust is the stupid part. Your truck does not have an oil quality sensor. Nothing in the engine is testing your oil. The oil life monitor is an algorithm running a mileage countdown, a time countdown, and a load calculation, and it shows you whichever hits 0 first. For most owners, the mileage countdown wins, which means that percentage is a calendar with extra steps. It has never touched your oil. And it was calibrated for average use to keep ownership cost low, not to maximize engine life. On an AFM engine burning through oil, trusting it to 7,500 miles is how sludge and lifter wear start. The fix: ignore the monitor as a target. Change on mileage, 4 to 5,000 on any AFM or DFM V8, and treat that percentage as a ceiling you never reach. Number 7. Remote start that people use exactly wrong. Remote start itself is fine. It is a genuinely good feature. What is stupid is how people use it, and the feature encourages the mistake. You start the truck from inside the house, it warms up, you climb in and drive off. The problem: at cold start, oil has not fully circulated, metal parts are still tight, and this is the most vulnerable moment in the engine's life. Remote start actually limits the engine, capped RPM, no throttle, to protect it during that window. But the second you get in, put it in drive, and pull into traffic with quick throttle, you have thrown that protection away and loaded a cold engine. Done every day, that early stress wears bearings and timing components. The fix is not to stop using remote start. It is to let the engine run its settle time, then ease into the drive with light throttle for the first few minutes instead of treating a cold engine like a warm one. Quick pause, hit like and subscribe, and drop your model year in the comments so I know who I am talking to. 6 down, 6 to go, and the top of this list is where the real money is. The features that are not just wearing your truck out slowly, but setting you up for a repair bill that starts at $3,000. Let's keep going. Number 6. Eco mode that lugs your engine. Eco mode sounds like the responsible choice. Save fuel, do the right thing. So people leave it on all the time. Here is what it actually does. Eco mode softens the throttle and holds the engine at the lowest RPM it can, in the tallest gear it can. Great for a fuel economy number on paper, but when RPM stays too low while the engine is under load, a gentle hill, rolling acceleration, merging, the engine starts lugging. Lugging means it is being asked to work hard without enough speed to do it comfortably, and that puts real stress on bearings, pistons, and the crankshaft while the oil film is at its thinnest. You will not feel anything wrong, which is exactly why it is dangerous. Eco mode is fine on flat highway cruising. In traffic, hills, or anytime you are loaded, get it out of eco and let the engine rev where it wants to. Normal mode exists for a reason. Number 5. Auto stop start, hammering your starter and bearings. Auto stop start shuts your engine off at every red light and fires it back up when you lift off the brake. GM added it to hit emissions and fuel economy targets, not for you. And starting an engine is the single hardest moment in its life. Oil pressure is at its lowest, and metal is closest to dry. Normal driving does that a few times a day. Stop start does it dozens of times per drive. That wear lands on your starter, your expensive AGM battery, your engine mounts, and your bearings. The truly stupid part, it resets to on every single time you start the truck, by regulatory design, so you can never permanently shut it off from the button. The fix: press the Stop Start Disable button every drive, or install a plug-in module that sends the disable signal automatically on startup. One honest note: a module stops the stop-start, but it does not undo the wear already done, so kill it early in the truck's life, not at 100,000 miles. Number 4. The active grille shutters nobody maintains. This is the one most owners do not even know they have. Behind your front grille, many modern Chevys have active grille shutters, motorized flaps that close at speed to improve aerodynamics and fuel economy, then open when the engine needs cooling. Clever in theory. Stupid in practice for two reasons. First, they are a mechanical system with a motor and linkages sitting in the dirtiest, wettest, most debris-blasted part of your truck, and when they seize, which they do, they can stick closed and cause the engine to run hot, or stick open and kill the fuel economy they existed for. Second, almost nobody inspects them, so the failure is silent until a cooling problem shows up. You cannot really turn these off, but you can save yourself the headache. Every so often, look behind the grille, clear out leaves and road debris, and make sure the flaps move freely. A stuck shutter is a cheap thing that causes an expensive overheating problem. Number 3. Direct injection, with no way to clean the valves. Now the top 3, where the real money lives. Every 5.3 and 6.2 from 2014 on uses direct injection, fuel sprayed straight into the cylinder at high pressure. Great for power and efficiency. Here is the stupid part nobody tells you at the dealership. On older engines, fuel sprayed across the intake valves and wash them clean every time. Direct injection sprays past them completely, so nothing cleans your intake valves, ever. Meanwhile, the PCV system is constantly pulling oil vapor across those same valves, and it bakes on as carbon. Over tens of thousands of miles, the buildup chokes airflow, causes rough idle, misfires, and lost power, and the fix is walnut blasting, physically media blasting the carbon off, which runs $400 to $600. You cannot turn direct injection off, but you can fight the buildup, run a quality top-tier fuel, change your oil on the short intervals so there is less vapor to bake on, and add a catch can, which brings us to the fact that GM shipped this problem with no factory solution at all. Number 2. Dynamic fuel management, 16 lifters waiting to fail. Number 2 is the modern evolution of the most infamous problem on these trucks, and it is arguably worse than the original. On 2019 and newer trucks, active fuel management became dynamic fuel management, DFM. The old AFM system could shut down 4 cylinders using 8 special collapsible lifters. DFM can run 17 different cylinder patterns, and to do it, all 16 lifters are the complex, failure-prone collapsible type instead of just 8. More collapsible lifters means more places for the exact failure that has cost owners thousands. A lifter collapses, a pushrod bends, and in bad cases the camshaft is destroyed. A $3,000 to $5,000 repair, sometimes more. And here is the part that matters, because I do not want to sell you a false fix. A disabler module helps by stopping the deactivation from cycling, but owners have broken lifters with a disabler installed, because the disabler stops the command, not the hardware. The 16 lifters are still in there. Let me give you the real-world version of this, because it is sobering. There are documented cases of owners installing a range module on a 2021 5.3 and breaking a lifter and bending a pushrod anyway before 10,000 miles module installed the whole time. That is not the module failing. That is proof that the module was never a guarantee, because it stops the electronic command to deactivate cylinders. It does not remove the 16 collapsible lifters that are the actual weak point. So the real defense is layered: a disabler to reduce the cycling, obsessive oil changes on a short interval because clean oil pressure is what keeps those lifters alive, a catch can, and, if you are buying used, a hard cold start listen for any tick before you hand over money. On the worst years, DFM is a design you manage. It is not one you install one part and forget. Number 1. Active fuel management, the original and still the worst. Number 1. The feature that started it all and has cost Chevy owners more money than everything else on this list combined. Active fuel management on the 2007 to 2013 5.3. This is where GM first shut down 4 of 8 cylinders to save fuel, using collapsible lifters nobody had proven long-term. The result is the single most documented failure on these trucks: excessive oil consumption, as the system lets oil pass the rings, followed by lifter collapse when that oil starvation reaches the valve train. Owners report burning oil with no warning light, then a sudden ticking, then a repair bill that starts at $3,000 and climbs fast. The stupidity is not that a part fails. It is that GM shipped a fuel-saving feature that trades 1 or 2 miles per gallon for a known engine-killing failure mode, and then labeled the fix your problem once the warranty ended. If you own one of these, the move is the same the smartest owners already made: an AFM delete or disabler, disciplined oil changes, and a catch can. Turn off the feature GM should never have made the default, and one of the most durable engines ever built goes back to being exactly that. And I want to be fair, because fairness is what keeps this honest. Not every AFM engine fails. Plenty of owners have run them past 150,000 miles with no trouble at all, especially with disciplined oil changes. The failures are real, but they are not universal, and anyone telling you every one of these engines grenades is exaggerating. But here's the thing. You cannot know in advance whether yours is one of the lucky ones, and the downside when it goes wrong is a $3,000 to $5,000 camshaft and lifter job. So you are not fixing a certainty, you are buying down a risk. A disabler and short oil intervals cost you a little now to remove a failure mode that costs a fortune later. That is the whole logic of this list, and this is the feature where it matters most. So there are your 12. Every one of them GM built in on purpose, every one of them sold to you as a feature, and every one of them working against the life of your truck. The pattern is the same from top to bottom. GM optimized for a fuel economy number and a warranty window, and left the long-term bill to you. The good news is that almost every one of these has a fix that costs you a few minutes or a few dollars. Shut off the modes, ignore the lying labels, change your oil on mileage, and manage the AFM. Do that, and these same trucks run to 300,000 and 400,000 miles. So tell me in the comments, which of these 12 is your truck running right now? And what year is it? Drop it below. I read every single one. Hit like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.